telecommunications can play a big role in shifting that agriculture story. The second is going to be health. We're already doing quite a bit on health, things like TIVA, LEAP. LEAP is a health training platform that we're doing. So we're doing quite a bit there, but we think we really want to accelerate how ICT and telecommunications can change the health story. And then the third one, we think that trying to enable small traders to operate, and I'm not quite as crystal clear in my mind about that bit yet, but you might call it e-commerce, but let's more broadly say, given the number of small traders we have in the country, can we transform their businesses? Can we transform their lives? And so how can we innovate to get there? Some of the innovation will be our people, and some of the innovation will be people out there, because there's a very big ecosystem. It's just that it's not been managed well. And we ourselves haven't played as big a role as we should have been playing. We have stopped thinking about mobile phone companies as being our competitor. People then moved on from that and said, you're competing with the banks. And no, not really. I mean, we can't think of who we're competing with. So when little cabs came to us, as a very good example, Kamal came and said, look, we'd like to work in partnership with you. And we said, sure. And we're actually looking at how we can further deepen that relationship to do a taxi hailing app. Then what else can you do with that taxi hailing app? When we looked at ENESA Education, we looked at it and how can you deliver revision aids to these children. We said, well, we think you can do more with it. You can use it for marketing as well. So now we're working with Univio to use the same platform. So we don't want to think of ourselves as a telecommunications company. In fact, pretty much every Friday afternoon I interview incomers into the company, and we hardly get people with telecommunications background now. They're coming from all sorts of other backgrounds. We start by wanting to be relevant. And providing we're relevant, then that's all that matters. I think our competitors, wherever they are, whether they be WhatsApp, whether they be Google, they've got their own strategies which they pursue, and it works for some of them, it doesn't work for others. Our strategy is to say, let's just make sure we understand the customers, deep insight into customers. If you look at Blaze, for example, that wasn't by looking at the competitors that we developed Blaze. We developed Blaze because we spent countless hours, weeks, talking to young people, understand what their needs are, and then we start to fulfill that. Similarly, in the commerce, in the e-commerce, m-commerce space, we just want to understand those customers, and then we go chase after that rather than chase after competitors. We're independently having ourselves assessed on our behavior, because it's not about size. The best way to deal with dominance is just to disconnect 10 billion customers, and then we're no longer dominant. But that doesn't make any sense. What you have to make sure is that you're operating to good, solid, ethical standards, so that there's no abuse of that dominance. And from time to time, some stuff pops up, and we think, oops, we shouldn't be doing that. We stop doing it. So taking an independent assessment of our own behavior and our own operations, segment by segment, independent, we haven't done it ourselves, and then responding to the recommendations and fixing those problems. So the minimum is always going to be 10 shillings anyway. So between 10 shillings and 100 shillings, you don't pay any fee for sending money or for paying money to M-Pesa. The reason why we're going to have to throttle it, obviously, is to avoid people doing exactly that. So you're doing 10 times the transactions instead of doing 1,000 shillings, because the system will break, because we can't cope with the volume. And breaking the system for everyone, because some people are trying to game it, is not fair. We don't actually think many people will game it, but what we'll do is we will restrict the number of transactions you can do within a period of time. So you say 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes, you can only do 2 transactions or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, we're still figuring out. But actually now, if you send it now, you don't pay. So we switched it on 4 o'clock this morning. And people will game it initially, and then they'll get bored. But it's unfortunate if people do game the system and break the system and then ruin it for everybody else. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people who want to send 100 shillings or 50 shillings, get them to send the money without having to pay what is a very high cost?